Hi, my name is Raul Hernandez. Back in 1994, I was a young man with a lot of ideas. I'd read a bunch of books on forestry and forest restoration, and I thought I knew everything. I was ready to go. And so I struggled and I put together a $15,000 deposit, which was very difficult for me back then, to buy a 41-acre piece of mountainside in the California Redwoods in a town called Annapolis, California. We started working. A couple of friends jumped in and helped me. And for a few years, we just did one mistake after the next. We just kept making mistakes. But, the forest was patient and loving, actually, and slowly revealed its secrets. And here we are 32 years later, and our forest is beautiful. And we've been able to restore nearly 400 acres. So we want to make a series of videos to show off the work, talk about the things we've learned, stick to what we know works, not ideals, not politics, just what works. And a couple of my kids have expressed interest. So I want to create a video body of everything, every little detail I've learned from thinning trees to everything, and hope that other people find this interesting too.
I think a good place to start is to look at the big picture. How much of the Earth's landmass is covered by forests? Human populations began increasing substantially around 10,000 years ago. At that time, approximately 60% of the Earth's landmass was forests or woodlands. Today, we're down to 32%. Yes, we have replaced nearly half of the Earth's original forests. Let's spend just a few seconds covering the greatest hits of forest loss and degradation first so that we can move on to what is being done about it. We're all familiar with the bad news with forests, and this can't be wished away. For example, we're still losing forest acreage today, and overall the average tree sizes are smaller because many of the big trees have been cut. The main reason is that 79% of today's forests are not protected. Most are regularly cut for lumber production or converted to other uses. Yes, it's not a pretty picture. That is overall still degrading. But, contrary to common knowledge, there's plenty of good news about the forests of the world too. When you balance the many positive actions being taken planet-wide, there still exists hope for the forests of the earth. Where's the good news about forestry? First, let's start with what is protected now. Nearly 21% of the remaining forests today are set aside in parks and preserves worldwide. There is growing political will to increase this percentage further in the coming decades with the 30-30 campaigns and many private efforts. It is probable that 30% of the Earth's forests will be protected in the coming decades. Second, there are solid, although relatively still small, forest restoration projects in almost every country in the world. These projects take many forms. They are growing and many have had long-term success. Some are relatively inexpensive and can scale. Third, there are massive tree planting campaigns in many countries. There's a lot of money for tree planting. Tree planting has pluses and minuses, and we'll discuss tree planting in a later video. Lastly, and most importantly, depending on local conditions, many forests can partially or fully regenerate on their own. For example, just in the US in the past century, millions of acres of abandoned farms have been reforested without any effort by humans. As long as the soil exists, forests can grow again. Soil erosion can be checked. The soil can be protected and help to restore its life-giving dynamics. It's a long conversation, and there are some limitations, and we'll discuss them in future videos. But the bottom line is that if a forest has been turned into farmland or even desert, gone doesn't mean gone forever. We live in a mysterious, gorgeous planet that is wildly dynamic and brimming with life. If we work with the natural processes of the soil, where forests once grew, forests can return. And with some help, they can return to whatever degree of maturity we choose. We can't create parks everywhere because we need lumber, and it is very expensive to protect forest lands on continental scales. But there's a lot we can do to turn the conventional wisdom of forest degradation and loss on its head by learning and working with nature. In our next video, we'll begin to dig into the details of hands-on forest restoration in the California Redwoods. I'll cover some of the history of the redwoods and introduce the main elements of hands-on forest restoration. Forest degradation exists in every corner of the globe because, as mentioned earlier, the large majority, 79% of the Earth's forests, are not protected. I chose to work in the California Redwoods because I fell under their spell. To take walks among the ancient giants is a transformative experience. Among their many amazing attributes, the redwoods sequester the most carbon per acre of any forest on Earth and are the tallest trees on the planet. If you're fortunate enough to own or manage a piece of forest land, with a lot of hard work and patience, you can make a living while working to assist the forest to rebuild its soil productivity and again grow many huge, mature, and ancient trees as it was before man arrived. Yes, it sounds at first glance like a contradiction. How can you cut trees while at the same time say you're working with the forest to regenerate itself to its climax ancient condition? This apparent contradiction is the heart of the matter. It is the primary lesson I have learned while working and watching the changes in our humble corner of the redwoods over the past 32 years. Our small example of a working restoration of the ancient trees is the organizing theme of this video series. I'll cover every lesson I have learned in minute detail and cover the overarching principles that can't be ignored. Although many-faceted, this work is not rocket science. Anyone can do it. Because, like all the important things in life, it is about love, common sense, and dedication consistently expressed over time. I should have done this years ago. But like the old saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Hopefully there are other like-minded folks out there. Let me know. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please comment, and I'll get back to you.